Welcome back to COVID-19, Franchise Leaders Respond. I'm your host, Red Boswell, president of IFPG. We're joined today by JJ Sorrenti. JJ is a great leader in franchise. He's been at it a while, like so many of us, and he is now the CEO of Best Life Brands. Looking forward to learning more about Best Life and all that they're doing through this COVID-19 crisis. JJ, welcome to the call today.
Thanks, Red. Privilege to be with you. Thank you so much.
Well, congrats on your new gig, as they say. I love Best Life and all that y'all are doing, a real cause beyond just financial, the whole senior care space.
Yeah, thank you. That's one of the reasons I joined the business. Love the mission, love the franchisees' mission around it. So very excited to be part of the company.
Nice. Well, now where are you today?
Actually, I'm in Pittsburgh today. I have a residence in Pittsburgh, and so that's kind of home, and the work from home environment is now happening. So I'm talking to you from Pittsburgh.
Fantastic. And you're obviously looking healthy and strong. How's the family? Everybody staying safe?
Grateful that everyone in my family is safe through this, and largely those closest to me personally unaffected, although I think it's probably hard to say personally unaffected when you get to watch the news every day and see what's going on. But yeah, thankfully everyone's doing well. Thank you.
Yeah, that'll impact your psyche. Absolutely. I try to stay away from it. I do physical therapy on my shoulder once a week. So I get 1 hour a week of news, Good Morning America, and it just ruins me for the day.
Right.
You think everything's great, and then you watch that. Well, brother, thank you for jumping on here. Help us understand, the folks watching this today, who is Best Life Brands, the different brands you have, kind of the big picture of where you're going.
Today, we've got 3 brands, and it's across the continuum of senior care services. So Comfort Care is brand number 1, and that's an in-home caregiving services to seniors, something that we do literally thousands of clients a day in-home caregiving. Care Patrol is sort of senior advisors taking pressure off of families to make good decisions on where their seniors may end up. They're the largest, and we're first at helping seniors and advising them into homes. And then Blue Moon Estate Sales, kind of a fun business. Seniors have stuff as they're trying to transition. And so it's helping them sell their stuff, but it's also helping them in their transitions. They have stuff and they have things that they need to do. And so Blue Moon helps them through that. So all 3 brands stay sort of across the continuum, and we'll continue to expand those numbers of brands as we go forward into more senior care services.
Okay, so certainly Comfort Care is essential service, and I imagine Care Patrol. I just drive into work today, to the office, and it's an office of 1, in case anybody's wondering. I heard a lady's raising a ruckus here in Dallas because she thinks garage sales should be essential services. You guys fall in that category, not essential service on the Blue Moon side.
No, Blue Moon's not an essential service. And so as we transitioned into COVID-19, we did a lot of isolation and a lot of separation and went to 10 people in a sale, and now we're completely shut down there. As we move back into those services, it feels like in certain parts of the country, maybe even coming up soon, we'll be transitioning back to separation, isolation. We can do things by reservation. And then we'll go full blown. But yeah, we've been shut down for a little while here as we're transitioning through COVID-19.
Well, help us understand, how did the other brands get hit, or maybe not?
Yeah, so Comfort Care, seniors want to be at home, and there's no place safer than being home right now. And so that part of the business has been okay. There are certainly instances where seniors don't want people in the home, and you can understand that. But at another level in balance, hospitals are discharging people sooner than normal. And when they do that, they need our assistance to be in the home and taking care of seniors or taking care of patients that had to leave the hospital to provide capacity. So that business is holding on pretty nicely. And I think it'll sort of be a soft bounce. We're doing pretty well there. Care Patrol, that business is still happening. I think it'll be more of a V-shaped bounce for that business. There's pent-up demand. Seniors still need to go into homes, but homes are not accepting new residents today. Some are, and so in cases where we need to tour or we need to take people through the facility, we've got video, we can do it that way. But new people into the homes not happening as often as it did a month ago or 2 months ago.
Sure. Well, I've got a particular fascination with Best Life Brands and your mission, the culture. Love everybody over there. Are you at liberty? I'm sure you're talking to a bunch of other brands about acquisitions. Anybody else coming on board? You can announce it on this call.
Can't announce it. We're certainly having discussions. We've actually continued to stay active. And look, we're looking to be complementary here. I think the private equity firm, the private equity firm that we're dealing with here has dealt with Neighborly. So they've got a lot of experience in taking multiple brands and having a continuum here. And so that was another attraction to me to get to this business and sort of add to the portfolio. And we've got some activity around that right now. We're looking to add to that, and hopefully, as we come out of this crisis, we'll be ready to go and get a couple more brands into the barn here.
Nice. Well, that's exciting. Look forward to hearing more about it. Okay, so the 3 different brands impacted each a little differently. How have y'all, as we say in Texas, responded to this new crisis? What are you doing differently?
Yeah. So the first thing, I've become procurement officer, right? So supply, PPE, didn't really understand how important that was, and then it became really important. So using all types of leverage, and so the procurement guy at our business becomes extremely popular. Our franchisees need help. We have over 13,000 caregivers going into homes, and so trying to help those caregivers to be protected was a very important factor, and still is today. The other thing that's happening is the brands are working a little bit more together. That was sort of the idea, and before I got here, but now because Care Patrol can't get seniors into homes as fast, they sort of identify a need and say, well, the senior is going to stay in their own residence, and so we need to bring caregivers in, and we can do that through Comfort Care. So there's a little bit of activity happening between the brands, which was the dream in the first place. And so that stuff's happening. And then, of course, we worked really hard, and I was really impressed with the team on how hard they worked to make sure that the franchisees took advantage of all of the stimulus and all the federal programs. Frankly, there's a lot of state programs and even local programs, and we worked really hard to make sure our franchisees took advantage of that.
So in helping them take advantage of it, a lot of education, a lot of communication, anything you can share about how you're doing that, maybe how often, any technology you're using to do that?
Yeah, so we literally did it daily. We were providing daily updates. We've fallen off of that. It's not been as frequent now that sort of everybody's in on the Paycheck Protection Program. Everybody's in on that. The EIDL applications have happened. So the frequency is a little bit less, but leveraging relationships, franchisors, we all have relationships all across franchising. And so while the franchisees could take advantage of the banks that they may have used, sometimes if you're a Wells Fargo customer, that wasn't really ideal right away. So pivoting to a different bank or a different lender that may have been interested to help, we tried to leverage all those relationships to help franchisees do that.
That's a great reason to be in franchising. As we keep saying, franchising stronger together. I mean, to be a mom and pop out there on your own right now, trying to navigate this and figure that out and watch every YouTube video and watch the news, you wouldn't have time to run your business if the business is even open.
Well, and I have a special appreciation for that because my wife and I own a small business. And so that brings me back to franchisees, and we've owned that small business for 15 years. And so I let franchisees know, yeah, I'm the CEO of a portfolio of brands. I understand franchising, but at night, I'm worried about payroll. At night, I'm negotiating with landlords. At night, we're trying to figure out how to get our payroll protection program application in. And so I've been through that personally, and then I get to help the franchisees do it too. It's not easy being a mom and pop, and I do have the advantage of understanding it because of my franchising experience. But goodness gracious, the franchising programs are certainly big help, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And videos or interviews like this where we're all sharing best practices of what we're doing to help. I've learned so much and hopefully been able to get that word out to a whole lot of folks. So any maybe stories of triumph or franchisees that you've seen do a pivot or something more aggressively that would be encouraging to others?
Well, what's happening now, franchisees have time to talk to each other. So peer groups have been really helpful. The Comfort Care business didn't have a lot of time because, again, the business is changing and they're working really hard to get more supplies. But Care Patrol and the Blue Moon Estate Sales franchisees, they're doing peer group work and having discussions and just helping each other try and navigate things. There's tons of examples that actually talk about it on LinkedIn and talk about it in their Facebook pages. And so I'm sort of staying connected that way too. But Red, look, I mean, we can go back to the stories are being made, and I can tell you stories from 9/11. We had franchisees at Ground Zero. They were a sort of a space for first responders to sort of as rendezvous points when I was at GNC. And so those stories I carried with me for 20 years, and now more stories are being made that we'll take with us from this. And there's stories of heroism, there's stories of mission, there's stories of helping people. And I can't wait to hear more about them, because while it feels really hard right now, there's going to be a lot of feel good coming out of this for sure.
You know, we're visionaries in what we do, and I just had this idea. There's so many cool stories. We ought to throw a book together. Just
You're right.
franchising, stories of triumph. Anyway, I'll put that on my list, right?
Good idea.
How about franchise development? We're nowhere without development. So 2 parts. The pipeline as of 5 or 6 weeks ago, what's happened to it? You know, did they run away? Did they pause? Did they close? And then let's talk new development.
Yeah. So again, joined the company and watched sort of this transition happen through COVID-19. And listen, I think there was a brief moment where the leads sort of fell off and the increase stopped, but it was a really short period of time. Our most recent results are significantly higher than anything we've had in the last 6 months. And I think people have time to sort of get curious about what they want to look into. We have lots of people in the pipeline that are sort of tapping the brakes and sort of understanding. They're getting advice from counsel that says, boy, you ought to wait and watch. At another level, we're helping them understand that now's the time to get that agreement signed. This is the time to get trained, because when this thing bounces, you want to be ready and to go, especially in the work that we're doing in senior care. You know, the recovery, I think, is going to be a little bit quicker because we're fortunate of the industries that we're serving, and people are going to need our help. It's not drying up, and there's going to be a lot of interest in that. So there's a lot of interest in our brands, and we're really excited about that. But it's also a chance for them, while they have extra time, to learn more about us and to make sure that they want. I've had more direct conversations, even as CEO, with franchise candidates, because the new CEO is coming in, what kind of changes are coming. And, you know, I want them to understand who I am and the team, because most of the team's relatively new here. So I'm excited. I mean, the funnel is good. The broker networks have been good. We love working with IFPG, and there's others. And so we're pretty excited about the pipeline and the way things are going. The thing that's probably the slowdown here is the SBA is working a little bit slower right now. They're completely overwhelmed. Everybody understands that. We do too. And once that sort of frees up, then I think things will really start to fly.
And your investment levels tend to be on the lower end of the scale. So it's, I don't know, you doing many home equity loans? Any pivots to that, since SBA and 401ks are kind of on the out at the moment?
Yeah, a little bit of that. And certainly we have the advantage, because of a lower investment, that people just have the capital to be able to do it. And so that's certainly an advantage for us. And listen, I think people are still, the 401k conversions are happening. People want to convert before the market's not really, the market bounced a little bit. And so they're sort of feeling better about cashing out or making that conversion now. And so, yeah, we do have a little bit of an advantage because of our low investment, but there are people that do rely on SBA. And so we'll have to wait for that once that gets unclogged.
So what about conversions? Do y'all do many conversions of mom and pops to your brand?
So my history and all the brands I've worked in, we've done that. We do a little bit of that at Comfort Care. It's something that's probably on the horizon for us, especially coming out of this. You know, I start to think about the estate selling folks, the mom and pops, the independents. This has to be really hard. If they weren't able to get through the stimulus programs, if they weren't able to get help, how do they find marketing dollars? How do they pivot from this? And so we'll be talking about that strategically to make sure that we're there in case they want to join a brand like ours and get into this network, because it's something that I think we're going to be interested in doing to help them.
Nice. Love that. Love that. That's a great way to grow. And you know it better than anyone. So JJ, as we wrap it up, you gave us a good insight on franchise development. Any additional maybe advice, predictions, insights, suggestions for franchisors out there?
You know, I liken this situation to, I've been around very competitive marketplaces in the past. And, you know, when a competitor opens up in the market and a franchisee calls the franchise support center and says, I have competition up the street, what do I do? You know, the answer is, well, what you should have been doing is taking care of the customer. What you should have been doing is marketing. You can start doing that now, but it may be too late. And it's the same thing with this situation. None of us can plan for a pandemic. But I learned a really good lesson as I was growing up at GNC. We were really good at how to run a vitamin store, how to run a vitamin business. But we also had to teach people how to run a business. Have reserve funds, be flexible, make sure you have the flexibility if you can't hire staff, and what are you going to do and how are you going to manage that. And so good franchisors had their franchisees prepared for this. And listen, nobody can be prepared completely for something this drastic. But at another level, and the good news was at Best Life Brands that the franchisor was thinking about that. Anytime you kind of get around a founder-owned business, they always worry about what's going to happen overnight, and so they protect themselves. And so good franchisors have been thinking about this for a long time. This was a little more drastic than usual, but as franchise candidates are looking at franchise businesses, if the franchisees are saying, my goodness, this shocked me and we had no money in the bank and we just weren't running our bit, like that's just not good planning. And so hopefully franchisors will learn to be better business planners as they come out of this in case they actually got shocked by what happened here.
Amen. Well, wise indeed. Best Life Brands is really in a great spot with you as leadership. I mean, they've gone from great to great to great with Mark and Steve and you. The brands are prime for growth. The Riverside backing you is just right. So thank you. I know you're busy, boy, especially just a month plus into CEO.
Well, listen, Red, but people like Dan Claps and Matt Lucas and Natalie Gold and Ken Perry and Roger Wilderman, those guys help us manage all that activity too at IFPG. So we're excited to continue to work with you guys and across all of franchising. I'm excited to be part of this business now and hopefully with more brands coming.
Absolutely. Can't wait to see what happens next. JJ Sorrenti, new CEO at Best Life Brands. I'm Red Boswell with IFPG. Thanks again. See you in the next episode.